Hello everyone, and welcome to another beer review. Now, today we're on another kind donation by Adrian, and we're on a Brakspear double dropping beer since 1779, and it's an Oxford Gold. Yeah, there. Now it says, golden beer with citrus aromas and a zesty fruit finish. And it's 4.6%. It's a 500ml bottle. Again, because I didn't buy it, I'm not sure of the price. I can suspect what it could be, but I'll put it down in the beer facts to be precise. So, style, that's a golden beer. IBU of 38. Well, isn't overly kind of hoppy or bitterish, because a good example is Pilsner Urquell is roughly about 34-35, so it gives you an idea. Hops is Fuggles, Goldens and Styrian, and colour and flavour is pale gold with citrus aromas and zesty fruit finish. Any other spiel on the back? None. There you go, which is quite refreshing in itself. So no spiel, no crap, just there you go. That's what you're getting. So let's crack it open and see what we've got. Now, last weekend, me and Adrian thought we'd go out and try a couple of pubs in Exeter. So we did. I'm just being cautious, because the last time I owned a beer here, it pissed everywhere. So I'm a bit cautious with my wee trusty knife, because I've got no bloody, what do you call it? I've got no normal bottle openers, so let's pull this out. So yeah, me and Adrian, we went and had a bit of a pub crawl around at Exeter to try some of the beers. Some of them were okay, some of them were quite poor. So they were, I mean, there was one that was quite bad. It was at Directors, Courage Brewery. God knows who owns them, but it sure as hell it's not Courage. But yeah, the Directors, bitter. It was bloody awful. To the point is that we were both drinking and we were both kind of thinking, do I have to keep suffering this? So I thought we must have got about a quarter down the glass and thought, oh, fuck this, I'll leave it. But the worst one though was probably, we ended up in the Brewdog pub. I can't remember what they call it, but it was some stupid name like, you know, my arse smells of glitter and all that kind of shit, you know, the kind of nonsense they've got, you know. But yeah, we had a burger in there, a wee bit overpriced. It was okay, nothing special. But what got me was, I wanted to try the Black Heart on tap to see if it's any different or whatever compared to the can. Answer is no. It's exactly the same. It tastes exactly the same as if it's actually poured from a can, but we know it's not, because we've seen the poor barmaid make an absolute kind of hash of it when she was trying to pour it. I mean, in the Brewdog pub, they've got the tap against the wall. They're charging almost £6.50. I think it's £6.45 a pint, and it tastes exactly like the can, whereas you can get 4 cans for just about £5.25. So for 1 pint out of the Brewdog pub, it's costing you almost £6.50. I mean, seriously, get a fucking grip of yourself. Now, the best laugh is though, she's pouring it, and what she's doing is she just pours it right until basically it's pissing everywhere. And then they have these kind of clear big bottles. Oh, these big clear big bottles. And this is for washing down the glass. And then she'll pour it again, because the head's a bit like this, you know. So and it's pissing everywhere, and then she lets it settle, and then she washes the glass again. And I'm thinking, it's taking her fucking ages just to pour 1 pint, you know. And I'm thinking, you ordered 2. So I'm just sitting there watching her do it all again. You're thinking, seriously. maybe you should actually invest in your employees and your staff and kind of teach them how to pour a proper pint, because I've never seen a mess like that, seriously. And God knows what it'd be like in a busy time. I mean, the pub wasn't that busy, which is probably kind of normal for Brewdog, especially at them prices. I noticed there's a lot of kind of discounts for students and under 25s and things like that. So there's a lot of kind of incentives for young and trendy people to drink there, you know. And there's me and Adrian sitting there like two old granddads, you know, like as if we're like the old paedophiles in the room, you know. Seriously, fucking hell. So yeah, less said about that the better. But yeah, overpriced trash. It really is overpriced trash. I mean, the hype is unbelievable. It really is with Brewdog. And the problem is, unless you're a fuckwit, and I'm calling you out, if you think the hype's worth it, then I'm sorry, you're a fuckwit. Because let's be totally honest, it never lives up to all that hype. It's just overpriced disappointment. It really is. And if you don't think that, then go to a decent pub and have a decent pint of ale. And then you realise that you paid a normal price for something a hell of a lot nicer in a lot nicer environment. You know? They tried to, I mean, the pub was done up as like kind of industrial chic. In other words, what they did was they went in there, the place was a bit of a mess because it was like an old kind of commercial building, plaster coming off the walls. So what they did was they just fair bonded all the fucking walls to seal them, and then that was it, you know. They made some cheap, nasty kind of metal frame benches filled in with kind of pallet wood. And you're thinking, wow, Jesus, industrial chic. Fucking basic, seriously. But anyway, so yeah, it was okay. It was an alright night out, and there was good points and bad points to it. But yeah, overall, some of the beers are quite nice, and some of the beers weren't so nice. But I just thought what stood out for the night out was probably the Brewdog nonsense. Almost £6.50 for a pint that tastes exactly like a can. Well done, Brewdog. You fucking useless bastards. Anyway, let's have a look at this. Back to this beer. Off to a wee rant already. So the Oxford Gold is, yeah, red. I'm not kidding. Is it slightly cloudy? I'm not saying it's, yeah, maybe a little bit, and slightly opaque. It's not completely clear. It's a bit, when I poured it, it was just under, probably about a quarter of a finger of a head. Really not much of a head at all. It's kind of a golden colour, yeah. I mean, it's not a light golden colour, it's quite a strong golden colour. Aromas. I'm getting hops. Maybe a little bit of malt, a little bit of golden syrup smell. But yeah, I'm getting hops ever so slightly. Maybe not so much zesty, but getting a little hint of pine. Just a little accent of pine, which is never a good thing for me because I hate pine in beer. Maybe a little bit of zest, maybe a little bit, but you get more of that kind of the aroma of sensation of hops rather than a distinct kind of individual smells. It's just a kind of slightly, yeah, generic-y, kind of slightly zesty, piney kind of hop smell, but nothing really distinct or separated. So, let's see what it tastes like. A little bit of bitterness at the back end there. That's sitting too low. We're on it. That's better. So yes, yeah, there's a little bit of bitterness there. And with the way the hops are, you just get another little bit of soapiness there as well, unfortunately. Maybe a hint of pine in the flavour, but not too much, but a little bit. I think that's what's kind of attaching itself to the bitterness. So you're getting the bitterness, but you're also getting a slightly kind of pininess that's slightly attached to that. And with that, you're getting a little bit of soapiness at the back end. So then it's kind of lingering a little bit. I'm not saying it's bad, but it's not the best ending. to the beer, to be totally honest. The bitterness was okay, but just as that kind of bitterness sort of kind of starts to dissipate, you're getting little hints of pine and little hints of soapiness just right at the back end, and it's kind of like spoiling the finish a little bit. And that's one of the problems when you go for these type of kind of hops. If you don't get the ratio right, you can get these kind of, what I call them, slightly negative flavours. Other people might think they're wonderful flavours and great. No, that's fine, everybody's different, but for me, no. I've always said I'm not a big fan of toilet cleaner kind of esque flavours in my beer. You know, it takes me back to primary school when the janitor was going about, I think it was wearing a disinfectant. He used to get a pine disinfectant and he used to use it for everything. You know, he rubbed it on everything. So I did. I think he was using it to cure flus, colds and sore arseholes, you know what I mean? But yeah, it just always used to be, you know, there's a case in primary school, you'd be walking along, you know, through the school and you get a whiff of pine, you think, well, somebody just basically thrown up, shot themselves or pissed themselves, you know what I mean? That was always the kind of situation. And you start to look for the kind of the sawdust on the floor after that, you know. But yeah, that was always the smell of primary school was pine disinfectant. And when I taste that or smell that in beer, that's what it just takes me back to. I also used to take the fucking toilet paper, used to smell with bloody pine as well. I used to get this fucking tracing paper kind of stuff, you know, this medicated stuff. Jesus. God, you used to have to crunch up in a ball and that to soften it up. That would cut your ass to bits. Oh, it used to be folded and it'd come out like, almost like a fucking envelope. You think, what the fuck is that? And I can see light through it, you know. Oh, yeah, it was almost like fucking tracing paper, but a bit thicker. Oh, medicated fucking bum wipes, it was. It's crap. I mean, to be totally honest, newspaper looked more fucking appealing to rub your arse with than that stuff. And then you had that lovely smell of pine as well, you know. Nothing better than going home with your arse smelling of pine. Yeah, primary school in the 70s. Those were the days, eh? But yeah, it's alright. But I would say it's a bit busy. There's a lot of flavours going on there, and they're not really kind of working together. They're kind of fighting for kind of dominance. And yeah, and unfortunately I'm getting more kind of hops than I'm getting malt, which is a kind of disappointing thing. So, yeah, not so good. It's alright, but I'm kind of struggling here to kind of find something nice. I'm trying to kind of acclimatise my mouth to it and see if there's something else that's going to come out, or see if it's going to settle down once my mouth is kind of acclimatised. But right now it's not really doing any of that, unfortunately. There's a wee bit of head in that now, look. No, it's not really working. Yeah. I mean, I don't mind the bitterness. The bitterness is fine, but just unfortunately we're getting that kind of piney edge at the end, and a little bit of soapiness. Although the soapiness isn't so bad now, it's kind of died down a little bit. So it's not as intense as it was previously, right at the start. But yeah, that slightly kind of piney bitterness. No, it's not really kind of dying down as my mouth is becoming acclimatised. It's kind of staying constant, which it just has a little bit of lingeriness to it. So yeah, they're calling this a golden beer, or a excuse me, Jesus, bit of choking I would have started. No, I call it a golden beer, or realistically more a kind of golden ale. But let's be totally honest, the way they're hopping it and everything else, they're hopping it like a pale ale, so they're just, you know what I mean, they're just kind of like almost making a kind of pale ale, but they just call it a golden beer to try and be different. Just tastes like an overhopped pale ale. Right, let's break down these flavours. Right. Front of the mouth, a little bit of golden syrup, but that's really all the malt flavour you're getting. Just a little kind of bit at the front end. A little bit of grain, just a slight breadiness there at the front of the mouth, and a bit of sweetness. Not a lot of sweetness, but a bit of sweetness, you know, and it feels like it's linked to the malt, which is quite good. And then, just as it starts to kind of transition between the front of the mouth and the mid-tongue, then it's all hops. Then you get a bit of zest, you get a little bit of pine. The bitterness kind of gets you kind of fairly early. The bitterness starts to come in about halfway through the mid-tongue. And there's a kind of slightly zestiness to the start of it. So it's kind of at the start, it's kind of slightly linked to the kind of zesty, kind of slightly citrus-esque. But again, it's a very generic kind of citrus. You can't kind of pinpoint what's kind of grapefruit or it's lemon or whatever and that type of stuff, things like that. With a little bit of, you just feel like you're getting a little bit of fullness there as well. Again, the malt is kind of lost in amongst all this. The sweetness again is kind of dissipates in the kind of mid-tongue as well. It kind of dies down a bit because this bitterness comes in quite early. I'm not saying it's a strong bitterness, but it's a kind of okay level of bitterness. But it has a little bit of link, like I said, to the kind of citrus at the start. But as it moves on to the back of the mouth and the aftertaste, these zesty kind of tones start to kind of dissipate quite quickly. The sweetness is gone and you're just left with the kind of bitterness. And as that slightly dissipates, that's when you start getting a bit more of the pine. Now the pine is there a little bit in the mid-tongue, but by God does it hang about. I'm not saying it's a strong pine thing, but it does kind of linger in the back of the mouth afterwards. And initially we also get a little bit of soapy tones as well, which have died down a bit. There's a little bit there, but not as much as it was at the start. But that piney edge to the bitterness at the end isn't dying down, and it's the same kind of intensity as it was previously, right at the start. So yeah, what would I give this out of 10? Like it's alright. I wish there was more of the malt flavour, but this feels, first of all, the first impression I get is it's imbalanced. That's the first impression I get, is the case so it's not the kind of a nice balance between the malt and the hops. I'm getting a little bit of malt, I'm getting a heck of a lot more hops, which is fine if this is what they want to make, but I like something a little bit more balanced, a little bit, you know, I'd like the best of both worlds, you know. You know, I'm greedy, you know, so I want the best of both worlds. I want that kind of balance. I want to be able to enjoy my malt, but I also want to enjoy a little bit of hops as well, you know. And, no, it's, you know, a heck of a lot more hops than there is malt. And then again, like I said, there's quite a lot going on. There's quite a few different flavours there that, just because of how they're kind of competing, they're not working together. And they're not clean flavours either, they're kind of muggy. Like I said, you get a zestiness and a citrus, but it's not clean enough to identify a kind of distinct kind of citrus or zesty flavour. The pine is a bit kind of muggy and everything else, which is fine in the mid-tongue, but then it starts to kind of a bit of clarity as it kind of lingers in the back of the throat, at the back of the tongue. So overall, The flavours aren't particularly clean. It's a bit busy in the mid-tongue with the flavours because they're all kind of, like I say, that they feel like they're fighting for dominance rather than, you know, working with each other and kind of, you know, feel that they're kind of, there's a blend there, you know, that type of stuff. You feel that there's a kind of a cohesiveness. It just feels disjointed in the mid-tongue, bit busy, flavour's not clean enough. And mouthfeel, it's okay. Well, a wee bit gassy initially, but it's kind of died down a wee bit now, and yeah, it seems to be kind of fine. And overall mouthfeel, not a big problem. I'd say it's fairly kind of sessionable. I wouldn't say there's anything kind of stopping you, apart from the flavour wise, from having it as a kind of easy drinking beer. But yeah, just that kind of linger in the back of the tongue and kind of back of the throat. Slightly pinish. Although maybe, is it getting a bit better? Is it? No. No, it's still kind of lingering about. It's not a strong linger. I've had a heck of a lot worse. But it's enough of a linger just to kind of, and it's that piney tone, and that's the thing that annoys me. It's slightly pithy, slightly piney, and it's just, yeah, not my cup of tea. So, the marks out of 10, what would I give it? It's okay. It's nothing special, and I just feel that it's not brewed the best. The recipe's a bit off because of the slight imbalance between the malt and the hops, but maybe that's what they wanted. But for me, I think it's slightly a bit off because I prefer more of a balance. The flavours, they're just not coming out clean enough, anywhere near enough. So it's quite kind of what I call kind of soupy. There's no real kind of clean, distinct flavours. There's just kind of generic flavours there, but these generic flavours are fighting for dominance. So again, there's no cohesiveness and not working together. And yeah, that kind of lingery pininess just isn't enjoyable at the back end. So with all that to consider, and again, I don't even know the price, but I would expect it to be between £1.80 to £2 mark. If it's in more than that, then yeah, it's overpriced. But I would say between £1.80 and £2 would be the kind of price, kind of bracket I would put this beer in. So based on that, I'm going to give it a 4. It's just kind of lacking in everything else. Now I'm giving it a 4 between, if it's based between £1.80 and £2. If it's over £2.10, if it's above £2.10, you know, then I would say it's overpriced for what it is. It's not that good a beer, and to be charging that, then I would say they're a bit of cheek. So if they were charging more than £2.10 per bottle, then I would drop it down to 3.5. I would take half a point off of that because I think they're deluded, you know, to think this beer is worth that price. No matter how, and here's the thing, if it turns out, well, to make this beer it costs this amount, well, here's the thing, it's not a particularly good beer anyway. It's not a great beer. I can understand maybe it's a great beer, so you want to persevere and keep making it, but it's not such a great beer, so if it's costing so much to make it, then just don't make it, you know, rather than keep making it and charging a stupid price for it. You know, that's my reality, because trust me, the world wouldn't miss this if this was out of production, you know. It's like that. It really is a type of beer, you know. It's not groundbreaking, it's not wonderful, and I'd be totally honest, I certainly wouldn't miss it if it basically stopped making it. So there's reality. So yeah, 4.5 out of 10. If they're charging anything between £2.10 upwards, then it's a 3.5, because it's yeah, it's a 4. Yeah, 4 out of £2.10, and if it's in £2.10 or above, then it's a 3.5. Because I wouldn't buy it. Well, I'm glad I didn't buy it because Adrian bought it, but I wouldn't buy it. And it's nothing special really, to be totally honest. There's a lot better beers out there quite easily, and I wouldn't recommend it. I would recommend, well, there's plenty of other ones that you can spend your money on, but if you like kind of purely kind of brewed beer that has a nice lingering kind of piney bitterness at the end, then this is the beer for you. So anyway, thanks for watching, cheers, and bye for now.